Back here, and they've been called the ghost children. An estimated 40,000 students in England disappeared from classrooms entirely in 2021. Teachers say that after the pandemic, the cost of living crisis and a funding shortfall, it's made absenteeism worse. The Education Secretary's solution, unveiled today, is more guidance for schools and stricter fines for parents. Sky's Amanda Acas has been hearing from one father who says his son has been, in his words, left to rot.
Want some of that?
For Stephen Phillips, just getting food on the table for his family of 6 is a challenge. But his biggest worry is for the future of his 16-year-old son, who hasn't been back to school since lockdown.
COVID hit, 2 years of being locked in his bedroom. He won't go anywhere. His anxiety's gone through the roof. Well, I'm worried about his mental health now.
We met Stefan at a community support bus in Kent, set up by the local secondary school to help struggling families with food and advice, as well as trying to reconnect their children with an education system many have given up on.
There's hundreds of thousands of children out there now that aren't getting the help I believe they now need. He's done nothing, no exams, not any GCSEs. My son's been left just to rot.
Sheppey in Kent is one of the most deprived parts of the country. At the island's only secondary school, the Oasis Academy, more than half of the 1,500 or so pupils are regularly choosing not to come to school. That's a persistent absence rate of 54%. Before the pandemic, that figure was just 13%.
The charitable trust which runs the academy and 51 others has invested £300,000 in the support bus and a team of youth workers. Its founder argues the government must do much more to help the so-called ghost children, but not through fining parents.
Punishing people that are struggling with the cost of living right now isn't going to work. How do you expect schools on their own to make up for the lack of economic investment in some of our poorest communities? We have to invest now, or we'll inherit a whirlwind, and the whirlwind will be that there will be many more ghost children and ghost families.
A report by the Children's Commissioner found 124,000 pupils missed at least half of their classes last year. There's concern the numbers are growing.
I fear they will have got worse. Those adults who are seeking to find vulnerable children, to exploit them, to get them involved in their gang activities, possibly dealing drugs and exploiting them with county lines, will often relish this prospect of children not being in school.
Today, the Department of Education announced it's creating a national attendance data dashboard to highlight where children are missing.
What do you think I should be thinking about when I'm making decisions about schools?
On a visit to a primary academy in Derbyshire, the Education Secretary told me the department is issuing new guidance to schools, telling them to provide families with individual support, but to fine parents where appropriate.
We are really keen to make sure that everyone understands that school is the best place for young people to learn. That's why we want them to go there. We recognise that in some circumstances that might be difficult, and that's why we have support for families and support for schools to get that attendance up. Fining is the ultimate step, but long before that, schools should be working with parents and guardians to find out what the situation is.
For MPs, it's back to school next week. Returning the lost children to their classrooms, a key test for the new Prime Minister. Amanda Acas, Sky News.